Welcome back to Ring Generals. I'm your host, Bruce Snyder, and I'm thrilled to be talking with our latest guest, Damian Chambers. Nice to see you. How you doing?
Good to see you as well, Bruce. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. You are a person that kind of goes all over the Ohio and Kentucky areas.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? Other than putting a lot of miles on your car.
Yeah, it's been a lot of miles. To be perfectly honest, I go all over the Midwest. So it's different than what I'm used to or what I was used to in my previous life that we talked about a little bit beforehand. But yeah, it's...
Well, you said Midwest. Yeah. I know you've been to Chicago. You've wrestled in Chicago. Where are some of the other places?
I go through Indiana. I've been up through Michigan. I've even been down to North Carolina to wrestle. I've had people in Alabama look me up so that they could bring me down potentially and things along that. I'm looking to go out to Texas. I'm looking to go out to California. So I'm looking to go all these places, Maine, New Jersey. And so that's just the life. So it's something that I'm getting used to still, but it's fun.
How hard is that? I mean, it used to be where way back in the old days where you'd have a territory and a circuit. I mean, you'd make money every single time. Now, I'm sure you have to pay for your own gas. I don't even know about motel rooms. How hard is it to constantly be on the road like this, striving to do what you want to do?
It's very hard, especially when I'm by myself. So coming down today, I came down by myself from Columbus. A lot of the times, I can get very lucky, and I can get a guy or two in my car that I trained with, or people that are from my area, and they want to come to a show with me just to show face or something. But coming down by myself, it's very difficult because today it was a 3-hour drive, maybe a little bit more when traffic gets involved. So it does suck at those instances, but you throw on a podcast, you throw on some tunes, and you're just cruising at that point.
So you heard it was a 3-hour drive, and then the weather started getting rough. No, I'm just kidding.
Good weather today.
Yeah, which is always good.
Exactly.
So I guess this is as good a time as any to ask, what are your, for lack of a better word, what are your life goals?
To be a professional wrestler. And there's no other goal at this point. I was actually asked the question the other day of where do I see myself with professional wrestling? And my answer to that is everywhere. I see myself everywhere in professional wrestling. There's nowhere I won't go. There's nowhere that I'm not going to go. I'm going to make this my life.
What I find so interesting when you talk to wrestlers is there's no straight, static background. Everybody has a different story to tell. You were in finance and banking. How did you make that tricky left turn from banking and finance into professional wrestling?
It was the most out of left field thing I've ever done in my life, to be perfectly honest. Growing up, it was do this, this, and you'll be successful. It was always somebody else's
dream.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. So growing up, I would do that, and then it was my brother's birthday back in 2018, and I had fallen out of wrestling for a little bit, actually. I took him to Monday Night Raw, which was in Columbus at the time.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
right.
Columbus, Ohio. And I had my cousin Drake from Michigan come down the Detroit area because he was about to start training to become a wrestler. And keep in mind, he is much younger than I am.
Sure.
He was 19 at the time, so he's about to start at House of Truth up in Detroit. And my brother, after that show, like I immediately fell back in love with wrestling after that show because The Undertaker was there, Ronda Rousey was there, all the guys from Raw were there. So it was a great atmosphere and aspect. So after that, my brother was like, we should go do it. And he would bug me for like 6 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I finally said, all right, let's do this. I'll research a little bit. And I found a school, and the rest is history.
Okay, your younger brother, right?
Yeah. Younger.
Okay, so you're obviously not old over the hill, but you're starting in your late 20s, which for pro wrestling is late.
Yeah.
And you're leaving a job that probably had a lot of financial independence, or not independence, but gave you some good finances to go into something that, you're like, well, I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from. Takes a lot of guts.
Yeah, it did. finance was never what I loved. And to say I was miserable would be an understatement. I didn't even know I was miserable until I actually started doing the wrestling. Once I got into it and I was wrestling, but having to go back to the finance job, it was night and day. Wrestling was clearly what I wanted to do.
Well, you know what they say, if you love what you do, it's never a job.
Never have to work a day in your life.
Is wrestling what you thought it would be? I mean, you told me at one point when you were younger, you had this dream version, this ideal version of it. Then you fell out of it, and you got back into it. Now you're in the business. Is wrestling what you thought it would be, or is it a lot different? And I'm not just talking about in the ring. I'm talking about the business. I'm talking about making contacts, the whole spectrum as you know it.
Yeah, it was very different. Because when I loved it, when I was young and I was into wrestling before I'd fallen out of it, it was the Attitude Era. So I was getting that version of wrestling. And it was WCW versus WWF at the time, and one of the greatest times in wrestling. So just absolutely loved it. Once WCW went down, it started to go down a little bit. In my opinion, it did, and that's kind of why I fell out of love with it. Got back into it, and now I'm opened up to this whole new world that I couldn't have even guessed it was like this. But it's beautiful in its own way. It really is.
What's been the biggest surprise? Positive, negative, you define that how you want.
I think it's a matter of learning that I am now a professional athlete rather than a professional sitting at a desk. So it's not that I didn't love to work out. I played rugby growing up my entire life, so I love to work out. I love to be in shape, but I wasn't in the shape that I am now. So I worked very hard in the gym and running and in the ring and all those things to become a professional athlete. And it's been something different than it was when I was a college athlete or a semi-professional athlete playing rugby. So night and day difference.
How many days a week, how many hours a day are you working out?
6 days a week for sure, in the gym. Probably no less than 2 hours in the gym between weights, and then maybe another half hour with cardio, and then whatever else I'm doing in the gym. I try to get in the ring as much as possible. So, I mean, in total aspect, I'm constantly working out.
You told me you fell in love with wrestling originally during the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So let me guess who your favorite wrestler is, and I don't know. So sure. Based on our very short time together, Shawn Michaels?
I do love Shawn Michaels.
Is he your favorite?
He's not my favorite.
Don't tell me. Let me guess. Stone Cold.
I do love Stone Cold.
But he's not your favorite.
He's not my favorite.
Well, you mentioned The Undertaker. That's probably who I should have led with.
I love The Undertaker.
But he's not.
Not my favorite.
Is it someone who I would smell who he's cooking?
He's up there.
Well, Bret the Hitman Hart?
I did love Bret. Not my favorite, though.
Is it someone that you favor that you look like?
No.
No? You're going to have to tell me.
All right. My number one of all time is actually Chris Jericho.
Oh, I didn't even think about Chris Jericho.
I love Chris Jericho. I've loved Chris Jericho as long as I can remember watching wrestling. I remember him debuting on Raw. And I
debuting on Raw after leaving WCW.
After leaving WCW, I popped. That was probably my favorite entrance of all time.
By the way, have you read his books?
I have not.
Oh, he is so funny in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, you could probably pick one up for like $2 here and there or whatever. Yeah, you definitely have to.
I do have to get that. But no, it was Jericho was always my favorite. I always loved Ric Flair, loved Triple H. Eddie Guerrero is a huge influence of mine as well.
So I heard and I saw when I was researching you on YouTube that you have a catchphrase.
I do. And
your catchphrase is, "Here I am."
Yep.
Where'd that come from?
That is, it's actually a Batman phrase. So it's if you...
Which Batman?
A lot of them, actually. So
I mean, are we going back to the 60s Batman?
No. If you watch a lot of if you read some of the comics, if you watch the movies that he's in, either the animated or the actual silver screen, whether it be Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton or somebody, they say "Here I am" a lot. The one where I really picked it up was Ben Affleck's version when he's just about to start fighting Superman.
Can you give us your catchphrase right now and go ahead and give it to the people?
Well, here I am.
Nice.
You like that?
What's it like in the ring when people are reacting to you? And I know that sometimes you wrestle as a heel, so I'm not going to say when they cheer you, but when they're reacting to you and you get them to react to what you're hoping they're going to react to. What's that like?
What's that like?
I ask you first.
It's euphoric. It really is, because you work hard to understand the psychology of wrestling. And then when you hear it working, it means that you've learned, and you continue to learn, and you continue to evolve on what you've learned to try to figure out how you can get the crowd to react to different things. And when they do, it means that you're now teaching yourself something. So I love learning, so it's always great when I feel like it's working out.
When you're in the ring, okay, do you prefer being cheered? Do you prefer being jeered? Or, some people actually prefer to just almost be a tweener and they just let the fans decide what they want. What's your psychology there?
I feel like
there's no wrong answer. I'm just curious what your motivation is.
I feel like there's no reason to go against the grain. And what I mean by that is there's no reason to go against what the crowd wants. There's always a story that needs to be developed, but the crowd is going to like who they like, no matter if it's the guy being the bad guy or the good guy. It's just a matter of figuring out how you can get to where you need to go with it.
True, but there's some guys that just love playing the heel because they actually think it's more fun. At least a lot of people who we've spoken with, and most of the time the heel calls the matches, so they're in charge. And then there are guys and gals, I shouldn't just say guys, there are wrestlers that love being cheered, that love being the face. And I'm just curious, you're not motivated by that?
No, I'm really not motivated by whether I'm the heel or the face. I love wrestling.
All right. So let me ask you this: you picture yourself 10 years from now, okay, and you've made it, or you're on your way to making it. What is your character? Are you a heel or a face? And what is your character?
I am. Man, that's difficult. I love both. I'm probably a face. I do love connecting with the audience in a way where it is something that they want me to win. They're asking for it. They're begging for it. So that's always something that I've enjoyed, is being a face.
Are you ever nervous when you're in the ring? Nervous that you're going to mess up? Nervous that the storyline that you're hoping to tell, you're not able to tell, either because you or your opponent, or you're just off? You had a bad day, as the song goes.
Sure. I wouldn't call it nervous because of me messing up. Like I never get nervous that I'm going to mess up. I get nervous that I'm not going to get across what I want. Messing up is going to happen, and as long as you can recover from it and you can keep going, nobody's going to know if you actually messed up. So as long as you get to the point that you're trying to make, all is good.
How is being a wrestler and being on the road affecting your personal life? Relationship-wise?
I wouldn't say it's affecting anything too bad right now. My girlfriend is actually in wrestling, so it's been very easy being with her. She gets it, she understands it, and I have my friends. Most of my friends are in the wrestling business, and then the friends that are not in the wrestling business are the friends that I've had for 15 plus years at this point, and they're just so excited for me to be doing something like this.
So it's never a situation where someone looks at you and says, "What in the bleep are you doing, dude?"
Well, my family still questions it sometimes, but actually I feel like they're coming around a little bit to it as well. They were asking to see some of my stuff for the first time not too long ago, so I was like, okay, maybe we're getting this across.
That's cool. You said you were going to go to different areas, and you hope to go to different areas. I spent a lot of my time in the Southeast, and it seemed like the wrestling fans in the Southeast, and I hate being very generalized. I'm being very generalized. There's all kind of exceptions. we're very into cheering the faces and booing the heels. Whereas you go to other parts of the country and it's more like either just cheering the athletic ability or trying to be counterculture and cheer the heels just to cause chaos. What do you think the fans in this general area, which includes Louisville, Kentucky, which includes Columbus, Ohio, which includes Cincinnati, Chicago, Indianapolis, just draw a big circle around it. What do you think if you had to generalize all the fans? What are they like?
We're in a very weird area, to be perfectly honest, because in the Midwest, you're going to get every one of those fans. It doesn't matter where you go, you're going to find a fan who's going to cheer the heel. You're going to find a fan who's going to pop for the Canadian Destroyer. You're going to find the guy who wants the figure four leg lock or the headlock. It's all over the place here in the Midwest because you're going to get a little bit of Southern influence. You're going to get a little bit of the high flying stuff. So you just have to adapt to where you are if you're going to perform in the Midwest.
We got some questions we're going to ask you in just a moment, but before we go there, what is easier or what is harder? Answer it however you want.
Sure.
In wrestling. Doing the match itself or cutting a promo that you know will get the job done and talk the people into the arena?
My thing is I'm still developing my promo skills, to be perfectly honest. I'm still developing my in-ring skills, but I've always thought that talking was always the hard part because I have never been somebody who's gotten up and I never did a school play growing up. I was always an athlete. I didn't do anything along those lines. So talking to an audience is not my strong point at all.
And yet you seem perfectly comfortable here talking with us.
Yeah. It's interesting because, and my brother always makes fun of me because he knows that if I ever chose to show my true self, that everybody would love me in that aspect. So I'm hoping that as time goes on, it gets a lot easier.
Well, no, you come off very friendly, and you come off as someone who I haven't met before today, someone that I instantly want to cheer for and want to root for, not necessarily in the ring, but just in life itself.
Well, thank you, Bruce.
Okay, can I have the money now? All right, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we have this thing called grappling with trivia.
Sure.
Okay, so let's see what kind of knowledge you have.
Okay.
All right. Ric Flair. Woo! Nice. Won the 1992 Royal Rumble. Some call it the greatest Rumble in history. At what number did Rick enter the match?
Oh, man. I got to be honest. I'm going to say...
Do you want me to give you some choices?
I'm going to say 3. Was I right? I was right?
You just turned into a heel. Remember all those nice things I said about you? Yes, it is 3.
All right.
Our producer right now, I think we're going to hit the trapdoor button.
What?
Don't even go there.
He didn't do anything.
Okay, we'll give you credit for it, okay? Yes, Ric Flair, number 3, made it all the way through and then ended up winning the WWE Championship.
Yes, he did. I did know that.
Which former WWE wrestler launched their own Netflix series in April 2020? Was it The Big Show? Was it The Undertaker? Or was it Stone Cold?
Well, I know that The Undertaker just started doing something with the New Day, so I know it's not him.
Correct.
Stone Cold only has a podcast, and he may have a show on USA now. So I'm going to say it was The Big Show.
Oh, look at my man here. So The Big Show's birth name, Paul White. Mm-hmm. He basically plays a fictional character of himself.
Yeah.
So very good. Okay, who is the first person to hold the WWE Universal Championship?
Finn Balor.
Let me give you choices, okay?
You don't have to. I love Finn Balor.
Remember, get bonus points if you can tell me who he beat.
It was... Seth Rollins.
My man here.
Seth Rollins. I was going to say Kevin Owens, but I think it was Kevin Owens.
No, it's Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Go with your instinct.
Because it was Kevin Owens who got the Universal after him, right?
Okay, nobody has gone undefeated in this. So you might be the first. This is the last question. Remember the late, great Brian Pillman?
I do.
The father, not junior?
Yes.
Okay. He actually played pro football for which NFL franchise?
Ooh.
Was it Cleveland, Dallas, Tampa, or Cincinnati?
I'm gonna I know it wasn't the Cowboys because I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't think it was the Cowboys. I'm going to say Cincinnati since he's from Cincinnati.
Well, I'm going to say that there's probably a reason why we asked that. Because you live in the greater, Cincinnati, Ohio area.
Yeah.
So, yes, you are right. So, my man here. Undefeated. Ding, 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 ding. And with that, that is the perfect time to call it a night. I got to tell you, this flew by for me.
It really did.
It was awesome talking with you. Hey, if you enjoy the content that you're getting here on Ring Generals, please remember to like us on Facebook and YouTube. And as far as Damian is concerned, please tell us where we can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram at The Real Damian Chambers, or you can follow me on Twitter at Real Damn Chambers. That's RealDamChambers.
Real Damn Chambers.
Damian was too long. I couldn't do the whole thing, so
well,
I had to shorten it somewhere.
See, I thought you were going to do it on HereIam.com or something.
No,
like that.
not yet.
Okay, maybe soon.
Maybe when I get a .com, it'll be Here I Am.
Keep your eyes on this guy. I know he's probably going to come to a town near you soon, and I have a feeling that the future's so bright he'll have to wear shades, which I don't have, or else that'd be perfect. So we'll just say continued success as you continue to rocket sky high.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
Thank you very much also. See you next time on Ring Generals.